Why did I say that? Because most definitely, the parents of the Christians and the Muslims that clashed at this location yesterday, I don't know what exactly they were what point exactly they were driving at, but it was a matter of going to protest, and then there was a counter protest. So yes, it was meant to simply be a crisis or a protest, simple protest within the school. But yesterday, 5 persons were injured over the hijab in Kwara schools. That is the statement from the Nation newspaper this morning. But if you take a look at what is happening right in front of you, that was the fracas that ensued at Baptist Senior Secondary School. Now, the statement from Reverend Dr. Victor Dada, who is the president of Kwara Baptist Conference, did say that more than 20 persons, including 4 of their pastors, were wounded, with 3 hospitalized as at yesterday. Christians that were there yesterday at the First Baptist Church, Surulere, Ilorin, on a peaceful protest, a demonstration with drums and trumpets, but it came under a serious attack from fundamentalists who mobilized themselves and touts in large number to bring about. In fact, the touts overpowered the police. If you can look at the security man, you're seeing there, it is one police officer or one officer of the NCDC, about 2 of them, to as many as possible. So you can imagine exactly what ensued. Mr. Fatunke, how will the idea of wearing hijab degenerate into what you're looking at on your screen?
I am very sure Tomisin, you will say we are not seeing this for the first time.
Of course we're not.
We saw it in Oyo State. We saw it in Osun State. And then, of course, we saw it, at Nigerian Bar Association when, the issue now cropped up as regards wearing of hijab or not wearing of hijab. Nigeria is led at this time by people who are talking about wearing hijab or not wearing hijab. When students, young people, their counterparts in Ghana, in Rwanda, in Ethiopia, in Kenya, are being challenged to go by way of artificial intelligence, the next level, the 5G. Rather than we moving from being progressive, we are going backwards into fault lines. And why is that? Failure of leadership. I have always said that Nigeria is a grand conspiracy of politicians, the elites, and the religious class. And I can tell you for free, the religious class decides, for want of nothing to do. We are 210, okay, by estimation, population is still exploding. We've not been able to count ourselves, but by the way. So, our hands has been like a devil's workshop. So what next will we be looking at?
We're hiding, basically.
If we are not kidnapping people for ransom, we are going after people who we have kidnapped and paying them pension.
No, we're going after people who kidnapped other people.
People who kidnap other people because security has not been on. And then, of course, the vast majority of so many other people, the raw materials are the students. And then somebody will not just crop up. I just want to be heard. Yes, all schools must wear hijab in a plural system. Now, the Baptist Conference. The Baptist Conference,
if I mention the names of the schools to you, you will be shocked. Cherubim and Seraphim Grammar School. You have Baptist, Bishop Smith Grammar School. You have St. Anthony College. You have Baptist Smith Grammar School. You have Baptist Second. And I'm just asking the question here. How exactly did we get to the point where we are discussing the issue of whether it is right to wear hijab to a mission school? I mean, as if I go to Ansaruddin Grammar School, the uniform includes an hijab. And if my parents, as a Christian parent, decide to take me to that school, they should know that for the 6 years I'm going to be in that secondary school, I'm going to be wearing an hijab. And so they shouldn't complain because they took me to the school. That should be the answer.
I just told you that it's a conspiracy of confusion. People are just not happy.
Why do we keep murmuring on things that will bring about division?
We must not tear up part of the fault lines. These fault lines have always been there. But like you said, we willingly agreed that I am going to be a lawyer, and when I qualify as a lawyer, I must wear a wig. You knew that. Okay.
Before you went to apply to be a lawyer.
I'm going into an Islamic school because I think I saw a teacher there
that I like,
who I think will give me the best. I will not go there naked.
I'm going to wear the uniform.
Or I'm going to go there wearing something that is not in alignment with what they do.
Very true.
I am going to go to Cherubim and Seraphim, where our mode of worship is that I wear the veil and I wear the cap and all that, and I must be white. I'm not prescribed that is what our students should be wearing, but at best, let them wear khaki or white, look neat. And I have decided as a parent that is where I'm going to go, because I see quite a number of my friends are out there, and then suddenly, after 10, 15, 20 years, I now join the bandwagon of people. Yeah, it's all right. That's what we need to wear. It's a recipe for confusion. What has happened, therefore, Tomisin, and that's my words to it, is failure of leadership, not just at the federal now, not just at the state, not just at the local government, from the family. You know, the people that we have elected to go in there to make laws
on our behalf
and to be our governors, they came from
the family system,
from our deep belly. Tomisin, you know, I think I am not known, and a way out for me to be known. I'm on television with you. I will break all the rules of broadcasting, and I will stand up
and go away.
Oh, if I went away, is that not good enough? What if I just take your hand and then I start to squeeze it? I say, oh, please help me. I squeeze it. I will make the headlines, isn't it?
Definitely.
But at what cost? I think people are just...
They broke down the gate of that school.
I think people are just inching for the limelight, recognition, which is a backward integration. But one of the things they forgot, the more that this goes on, the more the hoodlums are waiting. We are now sending them out. People will not be able to obey basic rules and regulations. Discipline has gone down because we ourselves that are governors, that are local government, that are legislators, we are also not disciplined. And we cannot be preaching discipline to other people because they will point it at us at what exactly are you saying? Why did you do this? You think this was the right? You think this was not? And then everybody now then hides under rule of law. It's freedom. There can't be freedom without responsibility.
Let me also mention to you that after they vehemently tried to break down the gate, and of course succeeded in one of the schools to break down the gate yesterday, they also went to vandalize churches. They actually threw fire at the church gate and vandalized the auditorium of the school, of the church. They went ahead to vandalize the Apostolic Church.
Yes.
A church that is not even is not an aid-granted school. It has nothing
that
to
takes
do
you
with
the real reason why they started this problem.
In the first place.
It's not the issue of hijab. It's the issue that, yes, we are going to tear the honestness. We are going to make people to be very, very, very angry. They are going to say, no, it's not going to be possible. That is not right. That is not right. And in now saying what is not right, they say, no, that is right. And then they begin to take action that are diametrically different from the root of what they are saying. My point is simple. They knew what they were doing. They knew where they were going.
And they knew they needed
the bottom line is that we don't want to have Christian churches. We don't want to have Islamic centers.
But I'm still asking the question.
That is the thing.
I had a conversation yesterday with an Islamic leader, an Afar, who is a friend.
Ustaz.
ustaz is a friend of mine, and I had to ask him, why would you decide to take your child to a mission school? Let's assume that is the only school closest to your environment. What will you do? Would you allow your child to go? I had to be very specific. I said, to a cherubim and seraphim school. And he said to me, is a cherubim and seraphim secondary school? My child won't go there. He said, because let me tell you the truth. Every single person in my family, from my aunts to my big brothers and uncles who became Christians because they went to a Christian school. And because they went to a Christian school, they have to align with the faith.
To Christian teachings.
Christian teachings. They did this, the CRS all through school. They finished school. They did all the assembly, the praying, the vigil. They did everything they needed to do in that school just to pass out of the school. And by the time they left secondary school, they became Christians. By the time they were getting to at home, they were still doing the rites, the Muslim rights, but the moment they got into their normal life after the university level, they all became Christians.
The problem with that is...
So his own parents had that rule from that history that they weren't going to do. All the children went to schools. The children went to schools, inclusive schools like the general government schools or the Islamic-owned schools, Ansarudin, Nasfat, Nawaruddin.
This again comes back to the fact that you cannot equate education with experience and knowledge.
Very true.
So it's one thing for you to be able to read the Bible from cover to cover, read the Quran from cover to cover, read the Ifa Oracle from cover to cover. If you don't have the character, if you don't have the vision, if you do not have the emotional intelligence to understand that the child that you are brought up today, that has gone to a Christian school,
so why would you then, as a fundamentalist,
listen.
send your child to such school?
And the child of a reverend,
yes,
will on his own one day come to a realization that I don't want to continue to be a Christian. That is not necessarily a failure on your part, and vice versa.
It is.
When you begin that indoctrination, it's not just on religion, it's also on the prejudice we have. I am Igbo. I can never go and marry an Hausa. I'm Yoruba. I can never go and marry an Igbo. When it is from that other race that you have fallen in love with that partner, and that is the person that is going to help your destiny. Now, what Ustaz has failed to realize is that the wrong feeding of indoctrination is one of the reasons why we have the Boko Haram and the ISWAP.
Very true. Very true.
What we need to do is in sana in corpore sano. Let's build up the man and let these children come out and be able to take a decision. Whether you are Christian, whether you are Muslim, what is the example they are finding with you? Like, I am a Christian, and one of the things that Christ admonished us in the book of Matthew is that let your light shine so brightly. People begin to now then ask. While back in school in ABU Zaria, people were asking me some very, very interesting questions. But are you a Christian? Of course I am a Christian. But you see me carry Bible because you say you are a Christian, but sometimes you behave like a Muslim. In what way? Because we see you being exemplary. We see you being exemplary. And
exemplary
from that
behavior.
exemplary character, is that there must be something about this Christianity. It's not by force. It's not by saying that you must now use the sword and what have you. I think we are taking the wrong steps. Now, even if you decide that you are going to take the wrong steps, that is where we now have law and order.
But this case is even in the Supreme Court.
The people who have gone
there is a stay of execution.
The people who have gone to do those unwholesome things, are they going to be brought to book? That is the question. If you are not going to be brought to book, what you are not going to find, I pray I am wrong, like the sage Abba Femi will say, will tell you the truth.
And let's say I pray I'm wrong.
I'm saying because it is horrible. More of what has happened is going to happen in some other states because of failure of character, failure of capacity, failure of competence, failure of you before me. The Islamic religion does not preach that because one of the anomaly you are going to find is that that's Christian school that you call C&S. They say, oh, is that what you want to do? You know, it was going to happen in Oshu. So let my own children too start to come in white veil, and then everything becomes bedlam.
Exactly.
Rather than have a discipline for children to be focused and be looking for the next level, we are breeding a group of children who are talking about hijab, who are talking about veil, school uniform. We are not talking about the security of these children. We are not talking with them on COVID-19. We are not harnessing the creative energies that is in these children because they have it. Rather, as parents, as governments, my child must wear hijab. It is my right that he must wear hijab. It's my right that he must do certain things. It's my right that he must wear hijab. And in wearing that hijab, and people now then say, wait, are you sure we can search? Because the person that's wearing hijab or the person that's wearing the Christian veil might have something to hide. Is the reason why the originators of the schooling experience say it is both the academic, non-academic, and your capacity to be able to. We are not going to be sending police to be checking them. So you wear your shorts or you wear your trousers. No.
Very soon we're going to have people saying that.
And then you wear your shirts.
They don't wear short knickers.
If anything bulgy is in there, we can easily see. Can you see how we are doing our integration backwards in terms of human development? Can you see how
we practice our religion in our
Can you see how they are dividing us?
No, but can we practice our religion in our private corners?
Bottom line is simple. Tomisin, after restructuring our mind, or that's first before me, we must totally accept the fact that there are certain cultures that we have embraced, and we are free to practice those cultures in whatever area we want. So we must restructure Nigeria. Again, it goes without saying, whether we like it or we don't like it, whether more blood is going to shed or not, that is one of the pathways. And after restructuring, let me quickly add, after restructuring, the problem does not go, because whatever it is within our little restructured space, if we don't still have a restructured mind to do the right thing, we just go bananas again. So it's an overall situation.
I think to solve this issue, to create solutions for this particular state, if you want to begin to legislate on uniform wearing, wouldn't it make better sense to have more mission schools for both religion? And these schools were started by a missionary. We had Muslims in my school when I was growing up, and there was no. As a matter of fact, my best friend in secondary school, my second best friend was Rashida. So yesterday I was just thinking about Rashida now, and I was like, Rashida's father was an Afar, was an Alaji. His house was quite close to the school. I remember the days when there was crisis in that town. He accommodated over 100 students in his house. We ran into his apartment to just feel safe. There was nothing like, even in the secondary school, everybody wears a beret. Everybody has to wear a beret. So if the school uniform is a beret and your uniform, wear your school uniform. There is no attachment else that should come into it. Why should we have extra attachment? When we leave our houses, we become a student. When we come back to our homes, we go back to our religion. That should be the way it is. And now we're sending imams and Islamic religious teachers to the schools that are owned by mission, and we have never employed a single Christian religious one. And these are grant-aided schools, which means they are being run by the church. They have proprietors and not principals appointed by government. They are run by the churches, and the government gives them grants to run. They don't actually pay for everything. So they are not completely public schools. They are mission schools.
From the example of Rashida that you mentioned, I'm sure, if you had time, we'll say, during the Islamic...
I'm just surprised, honestly.
Islamic celebrations, to go to Rashida's place.
Yes, she even brings meat. Her father knows that he has to kill 2 types of lamb.
They don't force you to wear hijab to come and...
No. I've never worn an hijab into the house before.
During the Christian celebrations, she comes back to you. Isn't it?
Yes.
The way things are going is such that, It's now the hijab that we are talking about. They're not saying, okay, yes, I'm a bona fide person that has been coming to this school, and the name of this school is Baptist High School. Sorry, we must change the name of this school.
Let's go to the next conversation, Mr. Fatunke. Because
that is the ridiculous.
If we're not careful, we keep
where leadership failure keeps going on. Where leadership failure is such that with technology, we have Boko Haram that are carrying AK-47 and they're carrying rocket launchers. That is developed from
this kind of issues.
That is developed from the knowledge of Western education, and yet they come back and say whether
don't get educated.
Western education is sin. Again, clearly.
No, but the gun itself that they used was developed with education from the Western world.
That's what I'm saying. So, but I'm saying that Western education that brought that gun that they are using
to propagate,
to kill people is sin.
The education that gave them the tools is sin.
The indoctrination that has been put that will make
we need to realign and
look at a fellow human and say, because I don't like what